call this meeting to order. Would you please stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming out tonight to our City Commission meeting. First item on the agenda is that we're going to take item number 2 off of our new business, the EPA Brownfield contract, and we're going to put it under old business next week. So we won't be talking about that tonight. Next is a commission report, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to Vicki Look, and she's going to make some proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner. I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas in 1985, then Governor Booth Gardner met with the Shelton High School football team, telling them if they made it to the state championship game in their division, he would attend the game and watch them play. And whereas, against formidable odds, the High Climbers earned a spot in the state playoffs and battled their way into the championship game. And whereas, as Governor Gardner watched, the High Climbers defeated Lake Stevens to claim their second state championship. And now, therefore, the Shelton City Commission does hereby proclaim Friday, October 23rd, 2015 as Shelton High School Homecoming Day, honoring the 30th anniversary of the 1985 High Climbers State Championship football team, and encourages local citizens to attend a reception for the 1985 football team at the Shelton High School Student Union Building at 6 p.m., followed by a varsity football game at 7 p.m. at High Climber Stadium, signed this 19th day of October 2015. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeff Green from representing the Shelton High School.
Good evening, Mayor Krantz, Commissioner Olson, city officials and guests. On the way over here, I kind of figured it up. In my career, I attended close to 950 city commission meetings. So this will be 950.5 because I'm not going to stay for all of it. But it's my pleasure to introduce the Shelton High School Athletic Director, Jim Judson. He'll say a few words, and then maybe we can get some pictures of you presenting him with a proclamation. So.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Green. On behalf of Shelton High School and the Shelton School District, I would like to thank Mayor Krantz and the commissioners for acknowledging the success of the 1985 state championship football team with a proclamation announcing that this Friday, the 23rd of October, will be Shelton High Climber Homecoming Day to recognize the 1985 state championship team. In 1985, I also had the opportunity to guide a high school athletic team to a state championship, so I know personally what it feels like to achieve the pinnacle of achievement in high school athletics. And we are very much looking forward this Friday at 6 o'clock to have the opportunity to provide a reception for the members of that 1985 state championship team and the coaching staff. I have had many of them make contact with me, letting me know that they are looking forward to coming and having a chance to reminisce on that outstanding achievement 30 years ago. And then as we move beyond the fall season, we'll have the opportunity to recognize yet another state championship team, boys basketball team from 1985-86, which we'll do at a later date. But right now we want to focus on the achievement of the 1985 state football championship team. And thank you very much for this proclamation and opportunity for us to recognize the outstanding achievement on the part of those student athletes and the coaches that worked very hard to attain it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to do a little photo op.
I will add one more thing. That Dr. Apostle had hoped to be able to be here, but due to a prior commitment, he wasn't able to attend tonight. Just wanted to let you know that. Thank you.
All right, and I'm handing this to which one of each one of the gentlemen?
Oh, Mr. Judson.
Okay, so we're going to photo op.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You were? All right, moving right along. Item number B is our weekly commission reports, and Commissioner Moore is not with us tonight, but... Oh. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake. I know it's hard to believe, but I made a mistake. So we are going to go first to the Shelton Timberland Regional Library Quarterly Report, and Miss Patty is going to come up and talk to us about that.
Good evening. Thank you again for having me. This is my Q3 report for the year. I cannot believe I'm saying that. Isn't that shocking that we're in Q3? I've given you and most of the audience an outline of what I'm going to be speaking about, but there's a few things that I want to talk about off the paper. One is a pretty exciting project that Timberland has just embarked upon called Timberland Writes Together. Every October we have a one book, one community celebration. Last year we read Fahrenheit 451. We've read various other novels and discussed those as a district so that everyone comes together around the same book. This year we changed it up a little bit, and this is an anthology of writers from across the district. So it's both a production that Timberland actually produced and published this book. You can purchase it if you'd like, or even better, you can get a copy at your local public library. So there are 2 Mason County writers in the anthology, so that's extremely out of the 5 counties, and there are 12 stories total. The artwork as well was a contest, and so we selected, not me, but Timberland selected this artist as the artwork on the cover. Also comes in large print, which I love. So that's nice. So again, celebrating local writers and in pursuit of that craft is part of what we should be doing as libraries today. So we are working on that, and this is an exciting first foray into that. I also want to say that October is Library Sign-Up Card Month. So I happen to know there are some people in this room who don't have library cards, and their names shall remain nameless. But if you... No, well, you wouldn't want me to, Mike. Oh, you do? Oh. So this is our new card. Again, this is the artwork from the front of the book. So anyone who gets a card in October gets a special edition library card and also gets entered to win a Kindle. So we'll have 1 Kindle winner per county. We'll also have, which we have a winner in the room before, we will also have 5 second place winners who will win a copy of the new anthology. So if you don't have a library card, or you know someone who doesn't have a library card, now is the time to get up there and get your library card. Yes. You can replace it if you, thank you, Dave. Anyone want to pull theirs out? Oh, they do drop out of the system, by the way, if you haven't used it for about 3 to 4 years. We clean up the database every once in a while, so you may have once had a card and no longer do. I actually don't know where my physical card is, but I know my number by heart, so there you go. I am excited to share with you tonight some of the statistics from Q3. They're looking pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. Trends, I think we've talked before, trends around the nation are physical checkouts are on the decline, and ebook checkouts are on the rise so fast, and you'll see from this chart what I'm talking about. So for our year to date, if you take January through September, so I'm working through January through September here, the current physical checkouts are 199,534. This is just out of the Shelton branch, by the way. And the last year, the comparison you can see at this time, we were at 206,169 for physical checkouts. That includes books, magazines, movies, DVDs, all that kind of stuff. Look at the downloads. This is where I continue to be shocked every single month. It's absolutely astounding how much people are downloading. So January through September of 2015, you can see we've got 24,381 downloads compared to 16,651 at this same time last year. That's that's a 50% increase. I mean, we just can't keep up with it. So more and more we're putting money into less physical books and more digital offerings because it's a fair playing field. I mean, you can get those books no matter where you are in the district, or if you're in Alaska or California, you're on vacation, you can still download those books. So I love this for this reason. You know, people are always asking me, oh, the library's dead, nobody goes to the library anymore, you know, and all this kind of stuff, and the death of the book and all that. Well, I poo-poo that. I don't believe any of that. We're busier than ever. All the statistics show it, and even though formats are changing, that's just a new way to read to me. And so I'm not a Kindle snob. I don't think you have to read a book to be, you know, any smarter or any better reader, any of that. Just read. Just read. I don't care how you do it. Member visits, you can see that we are year-to-date this year, 106,825. I can't find the comparison numbers from last year, but we're pretty steady in member visits. You know, little increases every year, but nothing gigantic. New registered borrowers, this year so far we've registered 1,690 people just here at the Shelton branch. A few quarterly highlights. I've downed the amount in my report. I know you only have so much time in your life, so I've cut it way down. So I really had to choose things that I thought were real highlights. What I'm really excited about here is the summer reading numbers. So summer reading last year, we had 910 kids sign up for that program. This year we went up to 1,402. So we are the kids' education in the summer. So 500 more kids this summer is I'm just going to keep going until they're all signed up. I swear, it's my goal. Every single student in the school district will be signed up for summer reading at some point in my career, or until I hobble off with my little librarian cane. We also did the downtown business scavenger hunt again this year, which has been a highlight for us for the past 3 years. Summer reading kind of winds down in July, and then in August kids are sort of getting ready for school and they're busy on their last minute vacations. So in August we tried to do something, and what we came to is to help the businesses downtown, we would go around and put scavenger hunt clues in the windows, and families can pick those crossword puzzles up. And for example, you could go to Mayor Kranz's shop and see a crossword clue in the window and fill that in. And again, we're supporting our downtown businesses at the same time giving kids a literary and fun thing to do. So we would like to expand it, but it has to be walkable for safety. We don't want to send kids, you know, go up to Walmart or whatever. So it's really focused on the downtown core. We also participated in the Business Expo and Bite of Mason County. We actually signed about 50 kids up for summer reading there, which was an unexpected bonus to that day. So on the back, you'll see some quarterly service stories. The one I want to tell before I go tonight is I was resenting working on a sunny Saturday this summer, and I was doubly resenting that we had a program that I had to handle because I don't normally work on the floor, and I'm sort of rusty at reference nowadays. I do my best, but that's not how I spend my time usually. But we were short-staffed, and I was there, and Taylor Shellfish was coming in to be a part of our Community Superheroes program. And I know that Darren Moody's here tonight, and you'll see a picture of him and his team who they participated in that as well. We can talk more about that in a second. But anyway, so Taylor Shellfish came, and she brought the education and outreach person. She brought gooey ducks and clams, and it was so cool, actually, but only 3 kids showed up. So we get a little, you know, statistics are everything in our world in some ways, but in some ways they're nothing. So at this particular time, a little girl was there, and I came to find out through talking to her mother that she was a foster child, and this was her first week in Shelton. And she had come here from Everett, and she was sort of sullen, and I don't want to do this, and my library's better, and all this kind of stuff. Well, by the end, she was hugging the presenter and just so involved, and she wanted a couple books on mermaids, and lucky for me, we happened to have a couple great ones on the shelf. And by the time she left, it was the perfect introduction to being a member of the Shelton community for her, that we embraced her, we taught her some things. The presenter at the program just gave her extra TLC that she needed that evening. She was asking, or that afternoon, she was asking her foster mother, do you think my mom will care? if I check out 2 books. So it was an amazing day. It turned out to be an amazing day for me, and I no longer resent working on that day, even though it was a sunny summer Saturday. So you never know with a program what can inspire someone, or, the numbers aren't always they don't always tell the whole story. So I do want to thank Chief Moody, who's here, for bringing up his officers. He was our opening program of community superheroes and brought cars and the dogs, and I think he had just as much fun as the kids did, because I got about 700 pictures from him or so. So it was a terrific series that we ran. We also did the fire people as well. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for listening, and I've kept it to 15 minutes as per agreed.
I would just like to say that if anyone is doing a job that they really were meant to be in that spot, you've got to be the person.
Yeah.
And I think Shelton is Mason County is extremely blessed to have you there, Patty. So
Thank
from
you.
me to you, appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Always come back with great reports, and so
Yeah.
keep up the work, and yes, I'll go over and renew my card.
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much. I'm privileged to be here, to be honest with you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now it's our weekly commission report. So Commissioner Olson.
I wanted to start with a comment about the proclamation. I couldn't help but think of the Bruce Springsteen song, Glory Days. I too was a member of a state championship when I was in high school, 40-some years ago. And, when you hear stuff like this, it takes you right back, because, it was a big deal in high school to do those things. And with the current state of the education system, especially in Mason County, and the work that Jerry's doing, and Chief Moody and Dr. Apostle, that, these things are great for the community to instill into kids that, stay in school, strive, make something of yourself, and it sticks with you as an adult. So go home and listen to that song. It really means a lot when you get that memory brought back to you of something that's a great accomplishment, even though sports aren't your whole life, but anything to keep these kids interested, whether it's scouting, schools, libraries, sports, whatever. I think it's a great effort on the community, and I appreciate being involved in the Graduation Matters effort that you guys are putting together. As far as my report, tomorrow I have a Mason Transit Authority Board meeting. I am going to go to the football game now that I've been so motivated to go to homecoming. And then Saturday, I'm going to attend the Shelton Police Department Reserve Academy graduation. I know a fellow that's in that, and I want to go support those guys. It's a great program. And that concludes my report for today.
Wednesday, I will be attending a criminal justice board meeting. Thursday, I will be attending a Chamber of Commerce lunch at Olympic College. And Saturday, I will also be attending, in fact, I'll be swearing in, I guess I have a role to play in this program, on a Saturday morning, to swearing in of the officers who have graduated from our Police Reserve Academy. So that completes what I'm planning to do this week. Next is a general public comment. If we have anyone like to speak about general comment issues, now is the opportunity. And we have one person, Mr. Tom Davis. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Tom Davis. I'm at 170 West Bushy Road. And good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioner. I haven't attended this meeting for some time, but I was passing by, I saw the light on, and I thought I'd stop in and give my 2 cents. And I thought I was going to be the only one to speak in a positive vein here about what's going on in Shelton, but I'm finding that I'm going to have to jump on everybody else's bandwagon. And what I came to speak about is I live outside the city. I own property in the city, as you know, but I spend most of my time here in the city, and most of my time is spent with disadvantaged people, working with veterans and so on. I find myself here all hours of the evening. And what I've found, just generally speaking, is that we have a safer community. In a very short period of time, in the last 18 months or so, things have changed. And I attribute this to a couple of factors, but the focus of my comments is that I believe that Chief Moody has brought an entirely different paradigm to policing. We run into the same people, the chief and I work with the criminal justice system and the public defender's office, and I see the chief around all the time, and I see him talking to the business owners, and then 2 hours later he's in the park over there by the post office, and he's talking to a homeless person, and there's always this feeling of calm, that things are getting better. And I have that sense when I walk around the city too. I don't know if that's statistically true, but I'm not even concerned about that, because before there was this static, this tension in the city. But I believe because of this new paradigm, this new approach to policing, that has sort of calmed the waters a little bit. It might have to do with other things, but this has been the most significant change in this city since I've been observing it. And so with that in mind, I'd like you to, and it's not that I don't think that you're in tremendous support of what he's doing, but I think it deserves particular notice. And I think that when you have someone who's doing something that's changing things, that you'd want to listen to all those suggestions, and you'd want to make sure that his actions and his plans are well funded. The county spends 47% of its budget, for instance, on public safety, and that does not include the judicial system. I don't know what the cities, as I said, I'm not that involved here any longer, but that's money well spent. It's hard to prove something that didn't happen, so you can only measure it by the sense that you feel when you walk down the street and you walk into your community. You feel safer. I think it is safer. It's great for business. It's the most important point on everyone's mind is public safety, and I think you're on that road. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have an opportunity for public comment a little later, but if you'd like to speak now, then sign your name and something else there, and we will.
Pretty soon you'll be able to just text it from the audience, therefore.
That's right, you should have like an app, right?
Oh, my pen. Thank you.
I was on the
Please.
state championship team.
State your
Still
name
got
for the
it.
record,
That's actually
please.
what I was going to bring up here. Thank you very much, Commission. I'm Forrest Cooper, 409 West Railroad and 807 South 14th. I'm also the owner at Cooper Studios downtown. I just want to make a couple of comments about our athletics teams this year. Fantastic. My wife and I have had the privilege over the last couple of years of doing all of the team photos for the high school, and we're honored to do that. And in that process, we've seen how great of an athletics department they have with Jim Judson and Jolene Scott, wonderful people. They're doing a lot of great work up there. But also the boosters. The boosters are doing some amazing things this year. They have started up the poster program in some of the businesses downtown. So we were able to, they got us to photograph the football players, the seniors, some of the senior guys, and those have been hung up in some of the businesses around downtown. So there's a lot of community support coming back into play. And I wanted to let everybody know that I saw on Facebook here, coming up Thursday, this Thursday on October 22nd, this is according to their Facebook page, there's going to be a High Climber Homecoming Parade. That's going to be Thursday, October 22nd at 6 p.m. The route begins at Olympic Middle School, right on K, past Mountain View, right on Olympic Highway North, right onto Wallace Neyland Boulevard, left onto Shelton Springs, and left into the high school parking lot. So they're bringing back some of the old school stuff that's happening there, and I was really excited to see that proclamation tonight. So thank you so much, and go High Climbers.
All right. Thank you for your comments. Next is our consent agenda. Are we ready for reading the consent agenda? Could we please have that, Leslie Ann?
Consent agenda, vouchers numbered 86848 through 86960 in the amount of $767,924.63. Payroll warrants numbered 1,000 through 1,045 and 74495 through 74620 in the amount of $633,738.40. Commission meeting minutes of business meeting of October 5th, 2015, study session of October 12th, 2015. Resolution number 1086-1015, a resolution of the City of Shelton, Washington, providing for the assumption by the City of Shelton of the rights, powers, functions, and obligations of the Transportation Benefit District.
All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The consent agenda passes. Moving on to old business, none this evening, but we do have an item under new business, and that's going to be concerning the C Street landfill agreed order, and it's going to be presented to us by our Public Works Director, Greg Clark.
Mayor Krantz, Commissioner Olson, thank you for this opportunity to share our moving forward with the closure of our C Street landfill. This particular item kind of started early in January of this year, and under the State Model Toxics Control Act, MOCTA, the Department of Ecology mandated that the city move forward with closing the C Street landfill. And we were identified as the potential liable party, the PLP, for this particular effort. And we began meeting with DOE at that time in January, and that kind of has carried forward. We've identified the requirements necessary to kind of move forward with this closure in according with the MOCTA Control Act. In June, we started establishing the process a little bit more. We brought on the consulting firm of Aspect Consulting. I have Carla Brock here with me today to answer any technical questions that may come up because this is the first landfill closure I've done. But we are moving forward. We've moved talking with DOE. We've negotiated a draft now of the agreed order, which is in your packet for review. We've run that through our city attorney. It's a pretty boilerplate document. Pretty much just identifies kind of a schedule of how we would move forward through this process. And actually, I'm going to have Carla hand out. There was a flyer that will actually be included in a public meeting that will be held next month with Department of Ecology here at Shelton. And as this moves forward, we will establish that date. But the first thing that has to happen is we, the city, need to approve the draft agreed order, and then that will then trigger them to set up this meeting date. There'll be a couple of different public notices that will be done, so the public will be aware of the public meeting, so they can come and testify and share in their concerns. But this one-page handout, I don't know if anybody wants to hold their hand up, we'll pass you out a copy of this. It kind of more than anything just has some definitions of what we mean by remedial investigation and feasibility study. But the main four things I wanted to talk about tonight is that under this agreed order, we're agreeing to do a technical memorandum identifying the chemicals of concern and the screening levels that we need to look for. And then the next piece of it will be we'll develop this remedial action investigation plan that is to kind of identify the extent and the type of pollution on the site. And that will be done through a boring of holes, a collection of samples, and identified what we find there and to what extent and to what levels. We then will do a feasibility study, and that will evaluate different cleanup options that the city and the Department of Ecology will want to consider in how we close the landfill. And then we will also define this cleanup action plan that really kind of describes a different type of cleanup efforts that we could do. And then in the long term, we'll actually select what options make the most sense, and we'll move into a phase beyond this agreed order phase. We'll go into another kind of cleanup action effort. But this particular agreed order is just to get through this remedial investigation and feasibility study and identify what we have out there on site and what is, how big is the landfill and And do we have contaminants that are migrating off-site? All these types of things will be evaluated, groundwater levels. This particular process takes about somewhere between 18 months and 2 years to get through it. A lot of it sometimes has to go for multiple seasons to determine groundwater levels based in the winter and the summer. And so anyway, this particular effort this is the trigger to get it going. The city is committed by signing this to complete the work, and yet we still retain the right to seek cost recovery or contributions against third parties should those be found through the science of certain contaminants on site, and we can track those back to other parties. We can bring those in at a later time as another PLP to this effort. The Department of Ecology has been gracious enough to give us a grant in the amount of $215,000, which we would need to match with a contribution of 25% local match, which would come out of our solid waste utility to fund this agreed order kind of remedial investigation feasibility effort. That won't be available until the order is actually signed. So again, the process is we get this through, get the commissioners to sign this draft agreed order. We then next month will have a public meeting on the effort, take public comment. That will then be looked at by DOE, and if there's a major change, then we'd come back to the commission. Otherwise, it would move forward with Department of Ecology signing the agreed order, and it's at that point that we can start getting the grant moving forward for reimbursement. And let's see, so it's our recommendation that this be brought forward on the consent agenda next week on October 22nd to authorize the mayor to sign the agreed order and to authorize the city administrator to do any necessary budget modifications. And with that, if you have questions in technical nature, Carla, I think, could help. She's gone through several of these closures with Aspect and is I think, a great consulting firm. We're very lucky to have them, I think, to carry us forward in this effort, and we want to do it justice. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Well, first, I would just like to welcome Carla to our beautiful city. And I was one of the supporters of this. We have problems from the past, and we dealt with it to a degree. Nothing was ever hidden from the public about the C Street landfill. We have worked with Department of Ecology. I've seen over all the years touched many times, but it's time to get it past us, and this is a step in the right direction. When I voted for it the first time, we had a little more money than we have now, but one thing I do like is the 25% city match rather than the 90% city match. So I feel it's something we have to do, and so welcome, and I have no problem signing this.
Yeah, this is a promise we made as we went through the planned unit development with Halls. It came up at that time, and we all supported it very vigorously. And I think that it sends a signal to the county residents and potential investors and developers, along with the EPA brownfield grant that we're accepting. I think if we're going to do any, we do it all. And I think that one is just as important as this, and I'm proud to have signed my name to it, and I think we need to move forward with anything we need to do to clean up these sites for potential investment. So I support it as well. No technical questions.
So, Carla, did you have anything you wanted to share with us? You love our city? You love our little city, right?
I do.
That's the stuff we want to hear.
Oh, okay. I love your city.
Okay.
No, I think Greg hit all the points. It's, being proactive about something like the C Street landfill is a fantastic step for everyone, so, yeah.
All right. Well, I believe that this commission has enough information to honor staff's request to place this on the consent agenda for October 26, 2015, authorizing the mayor to sign and the city administrator to make the necessary budget modifications. All right, we are now moving into an administration report, and I'll turn this over to Mr. O'Leary.
This is what we turned into last week, just in order to be timely and for this is a grant application. This is a page from the grant application that includes the amount that the city is requesting. I don't always do these things by myself, but again, there was a timeliness issue, and so I want to get back to you at your next meeting and let you know what we asked for. This was our portion of the funding that Tim Sheldon was able to secure for the community in order to facilitate economic development activities resulting after the mill closures. So we've submitted a request for 4 different elements. One of them is just assistance with permit processing. We're processing the SPI application right now. We want to make sure that we can stay focused on that, and this just gives us a little bit of consulting help in order to be able to stay on top of that. Another one is, as SPI is making its decisions, it looks like they might be using more of the city water than the Simpson Company did. And at this point, we don't know whether we've got, for sure, whether we've got the capacity, so we need to update our water model, which will tell us how much water we have in various parts of the town, including where SPI is, and also for Shelton Hills as well. Something that's been under discussion for quite some time, and I think it becomes even more timely after we did the downtown visioning process and come up with a plan. We had an idea to improve the entryway into the city along Railroad Avenue out to State Route 101. Part of it's city, part of it's county, so in many ways it's a joint project between the two of us. And the entryway to the city could be better than what it is. The fact that Simpson is no longer needing the railroad out there provides an opportunity for additional right-of-way. And so what this will do is it will help us to come up with a plan for that right-of-way, for that entryway into the city. That should, right now, what you see out there doesn't exactly match with what's in the downtown. And I think that it should. And so you don't have to wait until you get into the downtown to see the beauty that exists in the downtown. Eventually, when this is done, it will be done out there. There's no other money to actually do the project, but it helps if you have the planning done in order to be able to secure grants, and it would most likely be done at some point in the future. The fact that we could probably, and I think the chances are good of getting grants for it, because you would have both the city and the county as co-applicants, most likely, being both their jurisdictions, and probably the Simpson Company as well as a co-applicant or the successor to the Simpson Company. Another element of this is a comprehensive planning update. We have, at this point, a need for consulting services to do the comp plan, and we don't have any money to do that. We've just done the budget, and we're upside down. There was no surprise. We reported that the last time when we reported on the budget. And so this will help with that. There is also the need, a very critical need in my mind, for industrial land uses. Frankly, an industrial park that is for sale within the community. There is, and I think we've already done the beginning steps on that, and essentially we were told that we didn't have sufficient policies that would allow us to be able to add that element to our community, and so this will help us to get there. The land that is most likely best suited for this is land that's already in an industrial area. It is out between the airport and the prison, and you have a racetrack, you have the airport, the prison, and you've got the transfer station for solid waste, and so there's a lot of industrial type uses or uses that are not compatible with residential in that area. So I think that'll allow us to look at that, to to get studies done that would allow that to take that into the urban growth area. Now, the city would not annex this probably for at least a generation because it's so far outside the city limits, but nevertheless, there are utilities available for it. And so, and it's pretty much flat ground, the areas that are at least near State Route 102, so it should be good for that. So anyway, the total request is for $250,000, and that was sent to Ecology last week. So I'll answer questions if you got any.
On the entryway planning portion of it, is the county using any of their money for that too, or are we just doing the whole planning portion of that?
The county does have about $100,000, and it's mainly for industrial, commercial uses in the rural area to facilitate that.
So they didn't make
They did not make a
they didn't
request
make a
for that
request
portion.
specifically for that corridor.
No, they didn't. So.
Is it enough then, the 90 grand?
Should be, yes. We had originally thought that we would need 100 to do it. I think 90 will get the job done. The other one, I'm not sure. We were really looking at a larger area, and I'm not sure that the amount of money that we have for the comp plan update is going to get. We were looking at 2 sections before. We only may end up with half a section or a little more, given the dollars that we've got to analyze. So, if you can get it near the road, then it opens it up to industrial potential.
Well, I just think I shout out to Tim Sheldon for getting this money for our community. It's great to have a relationship with legislators that when they have the ability to bring some money back here to help us, that we didn't have this before, we got it now. Putting it to good use is what we need to do, and it looks good to me. I have no problem with this. So are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, so next is another general public comment. If anybody has something they want to say, now would be the opportunity. Seeing no new people signed in, we will move into administration final touches.
Any touches? Not seeing any, Your Honor, on the purple sheet.
Okay,
then.
our meeting, next meeting will be our regular meeting on Monday at October 26th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This meeting is adjourned.